What is up, people? This is Lucas the Loudmouth coming at you guys once again with another exclusive audio edition here on my YouTube channel. And this time I want to shed light furthermore on the whole WWE brand split that's coming July 19th, and the fact that SmackDown is now going to be live every Tuesday night. So we're going to get wrestling back-to-back nights, Monday nights and Tuesday nights for Monday Night Raw and Tuesday Night SmackDown. Obviously the news came out earlier this week that there is going to be a brand split coming to the WWE. This is official, and there's going to be a draft. Both shows will have their own separate rosters and their own separate identities, and that's all we know of for now. But I think what's more revealing out of all of this, and that people are failing to realize here that I should bring up, is the fact that the WWE Network is what's going to benefit the most out of this entire brand split. And that's what people are failing to realize, and they're kind of not keeping their eyes on, is the fact that the WWE Network now is going to get a lot of people's attention. It is going to open the eyes of many people around the world with this brand split. And the reason I say that is because the problem that exists right now with the WWE Network is that it's supposed to feature exclusive content. Now, while it does feature exclusive content, some may argue that that exclusive content is not anything special or relevant, and it doesn't hold much of a purpose behind it. These little shows and comedy shows that they have. I'm talking exclusive content now that will actually matter, that will get people's attention, that will want them keeping an eye on what happens on the WWE Network. And the reason I say that is because now what the WWE can do with this WWE Network is once again have dual branded pay-per-views where both rosters from Raw and SmackDown unite into one show on these pay-per-views, forcing everyone to want to pay attention, to want to tune in and subscribe and not miss out on these pay-per-views, because they're going to be a big deal now. They're almost going to have a WrestleMania vibe and a WrestleMania atmosphere once again, in the sense that every single pay-per-view is must-see, because that's the only time in which we will get to see both rosters compete on the same show on the same night. And that was a huge deal back then. That's what made wrestling so fun back then, was the fact that it was rare when you would see two separate brands unite in one show. And it was fun to see that. It was so innovating because it was so rare that you would see so many personalities, so many different gimmicks and characters unite onto one show. That's what's been missing. And that's what the real meaning behind pay-per-view is seeing exclusive content, is seeing things that you don't normally see, is rare things happening on a show. That's what exclusive means. Getting something that you don't normally get. It's like a bonus, you know what I mean? And that's what's been lacking on the WWE Network right now, because although they have all of these pay-per-views, really when you think about it, you can afford to miss any of these pay-per-views, because the majority of the time, let's be honest, not all of them are that good. And we're so damn used to seeing 3-hour shows anyway on Monday Night Raw that Monday Night Raw gives away so much sometimes. And when they get to the pay-per-view, it's almost as if the pay-per-view becomes secondary, and it's not that big of a deal. It doesn't hold much value. I mean, how many times has WWE for the last few years given away free TV matches on Raw that are normally matches you'd want to see on a pay-per-view? How many times have we seen that? For example, the latest example with the Bullet Club facing the Usos. We saw that on Raw like 2 weeks before the pay-per-view Extreme Rules came about. And it wasn't that fun when we got to the pay-per-view and we got to see them fight again. Well, now this eliminates that. The brand split eliminates that. You're not going to get matches for free on TV shows before the pay-per-view comes. Now you have to want to watch the pay-per-view. Now you have to tune in and watch and see a match that you've wanted to see for the longest time, and you haven't gotten it. And now you're going to get it, but it's going to be exclusively on the WWE Network. So I think next year is going to be a huge year for WWE. It's going to be key. They're going to make a lot of money off of that thing, the network, for so many damn reasons. I mean, I know this year is when they're introducing the concept and all, but they're still in the first half of 2016, and so far the first half of 2016 hasn't been that good. The second half is going to finish strong, but next year is key, because that's when things will be more progressed. Things will be more advanced, more organized. It's going to be more sweetened out, and it's going to be formatted more properly. That, next year is when you really got to analyze the situation here involving the WWE Network. It wouldn't be fair to judge it solely on this year yet. So I'm gonna, you got to give it time, give it 1 year to progress and adapt itself and all of that, and hopefully by then we can make judgment of the network. But I think this is going to be huge for the network, and that's what's going to benefit the most for WWE is that network. And I think that's part of the reason why they also brought back the brand split, is because they realized how much money this can make for the network and how much subscribers will come out of the network now. I mean, not only can you do dual branded pay-per-views, but think about all the exclusive content you could get on the network for Raw only and for SmackDown only. Raw's own pre-shows and Raw's own post-shows and SmackDown's own pre-shows and SmackDown's own post-shows, or even hell, just maybe some exclusive shows for SmackDown in itself and some exclusive shows for Raw in itself, meaning, interviews that you don't normally see on Raw and interviews you don't normally see on SmackDown with characters and wrestlers from each shows, or maybe you could have interviews with wrestlers from both shows in the same room, things like that. You can get really creative with the network now, and it opens up so many possible platforms and ideas for WWE to expand beyond just television, and it's going to be huge for the network. And whenever they want, they could also do network exclusives. I know throughout the last few years they've done a few network exclusives, much like Roadblock and these house shows that they sometimes advertise and televise on the network, and they choose to air it. Well, now they can do the same thing, except this time they could have network exclusives for maybe SmackDown only or for Raw only, and it's going to be like another pay-per-view, except these will be different in that one will be just for Raw, featuring Raw stars only, and the other could be for SmackDown stars only. But they don't have to do it all the time, and that's what's so great about it. It's because it's going to be a network exclusive that could probably happen 3 or 4 times a year for both shows, or for either show. And it's going to be so rare that when it happens, again, it's going to be a huge deal. It's going to be like a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So the network is going to be key. The pay-per-views are going to definitely benefit for WWE now. If I were them, I would just completely do away with the pay-per-view business and strictly have all their pay-per-views on the network. Because if you want subscribers, if you really want to make money off of the network, if you really want to bring in more subscriptions and things like that and force people to get the network, then get rid of the pay-per-views on TV. Make them strictly solely air on the network if you want exclusive content. And I think that would be huge for WWE. The pay-per-views are going to be so big now. I mean, oh my God. And who knows if down the line they might even want to raise the price for the subscription. I don't think that's going to happen, probably not in the next few years. But if things work out and the numbers are successful for WWE, sometime down the line, they might even want to raise the price, seeing as how much money that thing is worth maybe 1 or 2 years down the line. So who knows? But this is going to be great. I do think, though, that they have to get rid of a few pay-per-views. I know that that's what they mostly rely on to make them money, are all the pay-per-views that they have throughout the entire year. But they really have to cut down on a few of them. Like Hell in a Cell automatically needs to go. I think that's the one that mostly needs to go out of the entire calendar year. Night of Champions would be great to keep around because you would see champions from both shows competing in one night, and all the titles would be up for grabs. So Night of Champions, I think, would do great. You could keep Night of Champions, but Hell in a Cell and TLC are like the 2 pay-per-views that seriously need to go the most. Hell, maybe even Fastlane. I think Fastlane should go as well. But those 3 need to go, in my opinion. And, they're not needed anymore because now not every feud from both Raw and SmackDown need to have a Hell in a Cell match. It all depends on the storyline going on around that time for both shows that warrants a Hell in a Cell match. This shouldn't come forced. having to watch 2 Hell in a Cell matches from 2 different shows. It shouldn't feel forced. It should come natural. It should come organically. And personally, I would get rid of Hell in a Cell. That's the one that I mostly am frustrated with. That's the one that needs to go. I would replace that with maybe something else, or maybe just not have a pay-per-view in October and build all the way up until Survivor Series. Because Survivor Series is one of the big 4 pay-per-views. So why not give yourself some time to have a proper build-up, proper hype behind Survivor Series, not do a pay-per-view in the entire month of October, build from September all the way to November for Survivor Series, and do the same thing for WrestleMania. Not have a pay-per-view in February. You could build from January all the way up until April for WrestleMania, and give these personalities some time to develop. Have character development, have storyline progress, and things like that, so that when WrestleMania comes around, those subscription numbers are high again, because we haven't seen a pay-per-view in a month and everyone's excited. WrestleMania is going to be huge. They can't wait. It's going to be rare. Again, it's going to be a rare atmosphere at WrestleMania. And the last thing I would want to say here is also probably get rid of Money in the Bank, because I think Money in the Bank needs to go now, and they need to go back to the routine of having the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania, have both rosters, both shows fight for one briefcase in one night. The winner of that briefcase gets to cash in within a year for any title from any brand, and go back to that routine, because Money in the Bank really should have purpose behind it again. It needs to be special again. It needs to feel like it's something that's legitimate. And having 2 briefcases around serves no purpose. It derails the purpose of a top star getting a major push. You don't need to have 2 freaking briefcase winners walking around doing the exact same thing. It just loses its purpose. There's no benefit behind that. There's no big deal in that. So if you have one guy walking around with the briefcase, it feels that much special, because it almost feels as if they're carrying a damn championship and not just a prop. You know what I mean? So get rid of Money in the Bank as well. And I think if all of those things were to happen, the WWE Network would be successful. But it's all a matter of if WWE will realize this and they decide to execute on this. And again, that's only my side of things and how I would view things down the line and in the future. That's how I would personally do things if I were running the business as far as the WWE Network is concerned. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, that's my take on how big this brand split is for the WWE Network and how much money WWE could possibly make out of the WWE Network. But the key is to keep both rosters separate, and really not bullshit us on the fact that, they're promoting these 2 shows are going to be separate, but then later down the line, you see stars from both shows appearing on each other's shows. That would be stupid. That would be the biggest failure and the biggest disaster. So that's key, keeping both shows completely separate up until pay-per-views. Let me know what you guys think.